look back at the older videos, I think we're about 6 or 7 back was the title "Music Is Dead."
I don't think it was that soon or that
Like I said, go look it
way
up. I
further
don't
back.
you know, hold on, I'll tell you exactly when.
Okay.
Hang on, because I got the channel right here.
All right.
Content. Boy, you're getting old. Let me see. Where is live? There it is. We did. Oh, it was a little bit further.
Oh,
Okay, we
really?
did it in February.
Yeah. Okay. That wasn't 6.
February 22. I'm
6
sorry.
weeks. Really? We
One,
did it
two,
February.
three,
Okay. Yeah.
four,
I don't remember doing this.
5, 6. Yeah, because you're
What
old.
did we talk about?
Dude, it doesn't matter. All right, so let's basically
Let's do a
agree in the
short
music
version of
industry.
what's
Yeah.
wrong, and then talk about possible solutions.
Okay, we all do we agree that what killed music was Napster?
That was the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
100%.
And then
There's no doubt in my
LimeWire
mind. Let me turn you
and
up.
all the other programs, everybody started stealing music once it
Okay.
became
So
worthless.
so the internet was the beginning of the end.
Right.
It was
No, the
yes.
internet had been out a while. 2000 wasn't the internet.
No, but the internet was the beginning of the end. We just didn't know it.
Oh,
Okay?
yeah, I
Because
agree.
okay, let's just think about in general, the generalized problem. Anything digital,
Right.
right, can be
Has lost
copied.
value.
Wait, it can be copied, right? And because it can be
Right.
copied easily, it loses its value. Okay?
Mhm.
So a movie, digital, can't be copied easily even today. It's kind of a pain in the ass. Download
It
a movie,
is.
ugh, it's not worth it. And
Oh,
then
wait, you can, I know how, but
sure, but I don't want to. I'm lazy. Okay.
Right, right,
So most people don't. Most people pay for a streaming service and they don't like download movies because it's too much of a hassle. So music is short and you can quickly send music and you can stream it, right? So you can have it from somewhere and listen to it. So so we've been able to copy music forever. And the Supreme Court even said, for personal use, you can take an album and copy it to a tape, right?
right,
I
right.
mean, so we've been able to do that for a long time, but distribution was the problem. You couldn't just all of a sudden send tapes to everyone you know,
Right.
or put a big pile of tapes out in the public square and let people take them. We can do that on the internet,
Right.
right? We can put
Man,
something up.
cassettes suck, dude. Let's admit it.
Yeah, but you could you could put a song that you ripped off your CD, put those songs up for the whole world to download, and that's what Napster was.
Right.
So the internet took the problem that we had with cassette tapes, distribution,
Mhm.
and solved that problem pretty
Right.
much.
And they just sold, by the way.
And it costs nothing, by the way. It
Right.
costs nothing to produce. It costs 0 to produce. Okay. So you had to buy a tape. You had to go and buy it. You had to go down to Tower Records or Sam Goodies or Music Plus or any of these stores. And you had to go and get a blank tape. And then you had to hit, record and then drop the needle and then record it. And then you had to stop it and flip the album over. There was work involved.
Right.
And then if you made tape to tapes, which you could do, you'd only have one generation loss if you kept a master. So you would do your master once and you could make tape after tape. That's great. Still a lot of work, still a pain in the ass. No one wanted to do that. But now we can do it very easily. So the internet was the beginning of the end of the music industry. So that's the first thing.
Right.
The second thing is the record industry itself kind of screwed the artists. Okay. And because they screwed the artist, everybody wanted to dance on their grave. And we did.
Yep.
We gladly
this, baby.
Yeah, they took all the money and they barely gave some to the artists. Only a few made real money. And they got them in these ridiculous contracts when they were young and stupid and, wanted to be a star and all this. And so they took advantage of them. And so we all happily danced on their graves. Well, fast forward, 30 years later? And now,
which seems like it was just yesterday.
Right. And now where are we? We have no easy way to discover new music, good new music. Like you can go on Spotify and you can go to Bandcamp and SoundCloud and all these places, but the burden is on you. There's no good curated lists. And sure, there are
Right.
lists on Apple Music and there are playlists on Spotify, but I don't know what I don't. I listen to that and I think, what do I go? What do I listen to? So I listen to it, right? And I'm like, this music's terrible, right? I don't like this music. Well, what else can I go to? And it's nice. They have some lists for me. But what we miss is radio. Now, radio sucked. There's no two ways about it. And there was a pay to play.
More than you knew.
Right. It was illegal, but it happened all the time. Like, remember when we were kids, we called what was it? K-Rock. We called K-Rock.
Yeah.
We were like, play Whole Day Off by Oingo Boingo. And they're like, oh, well, we could play this song. No. Well, some other song of Oingo Boingo. We're like, no, we don't want that song. We're sick of that song. Play Whole Day Off, right? Never would they play Whole Day Off. Well, we'll see if we can get to it. We listened for the rest of the day. They didn't play it. That fucker didn't play
And we stupidly listened.
Right. And we thought, maybe he'll play it. Right. So turns out that they never played Whole Day Off on the radio. Strangely enough, it's on their greatest hits album, on one of their hits albums. Right. Do you remember that?
That is funny.
Right. So they had an album that they were being paid to play. And that was what they were supposed to play.
Right.
And so radio was corrupt. The music or the record companies were corrupt. And and then Napster came along and everybody was like, oh, good, we're going to stick it to the man. Well, we all shot ourselves in the foot. Now it's I can't buy music today. I could literally buy music, but I feel like I'm being ripped off when I can just go listen on Spotify. Okay. That's the problem. If I can listen on Spotify, I'm already paying for that. Why would I pay the artist additional monies? No one's going to do that. And you're not going to have
so little money on Spotify, like pennies.
I know. And no one's going to, right. But the money that I'm spending every month, I'd rather buy one CD a month. I'm basically listening to most of the CDs I bought when I was younger or albums. I listen to that music a lot. I listen to new music too, but the majority is I've already paid for, and now I have to pay for it again, right? I'm paying for it.
Do you want a fact? You want trivia?
What?
Okay. Spotify came out with like a report saying that more songs before 2000 are listened to than after 2000.
Well, yeah, there's more music before 2000. So that's
but I mean, more people use Spotify for older stuff than they do for current music.
Yeah, but see, that totally makes sense. But there's I don't think there's anything in that. Think about this. Okay.
Oh no, there's tons.
No, you're just an old fart who wants to say, "Oh, in my day, music was better."
Okay, let me give you another trivia.
And wait, music was better. Music was better in our day. Why? Because there was an industry. Yeah, there was an industry.
I agree.
And people, so think about this. Okay, pick the Beatles. Okay, I'm just going to pick them because everybody knows the Beatles, right? Imagine there was no music industry during the time of the Beatles. Okay, what would those guys be doing? What would they do? What would they have done with their lives? You'd have these guys, they go off and drive a truck, or they'd, be a carpenter or a plumber or an accountant. Who knows what they would have done? But they wouldn't have made the music that impacted society. They wouldn't have. There'd be no reason.
Great music too.
Right. But then they're just one band. Imagine all of these people. There's no money in music. Think of all of the art we would have missed.
Back in.
Think about all the art we would have missed, dude. Think about it. All of it gone, right? Mm-hmm. So now we're in that time. We're in the time there's no money in music. And you see people online. So I was watching this video today about how to make money in music, as a producer or something, some video. And so the girl was talking about how she makes money. She interviewed a bunch of people on YouTube, right? And most of them are just doing work for other people. It wasn't like they were creating their own art. They weren't going, well, I'm writing an album and I'm selling my music.
So they were
Nobody was doing
writing
that.
for other people,
Well, they were writing for companies, music for companies,
right?
or they were selling digital products. So what are those digital products? They're selling the dream of doing music to other people, right? Okay, that's a Ponzi scheme. There's no money in the industry,
Little weird.
right? There's no money in the industry. So you're just selling to the next generation. This generation is selling to the next generation the dream that they aren't living, right? Because they have to sell. And then basically, what is that generation going to do? Sell to the next generation this dream? No. We need to get money back into music so people can quit their, 9 to 5 and do music if they can sell their music, right? If their music is valued.
What's our first step to get back to?
Okay. So here's the problem that most people our age make. They want to go back to the way things were. Oh, you got to buy vinyl, I mean, no. We live in a new world and we will always live in a new world. You have to take the things in the past, the things we valued, and figure out how we can still retain that, as well as the good parts of the new world. Okay.
Right.
So the beauty of the new world is that someone like me can sit here. I'm sitting at my desk where I make music, right? And make music. That's the new world. Couldn't do that back when we were kids. This is incredible that I can sit here in my room, this very room, and write music. That's incredible. Okay. So that's great.
But you can produce from, wait, let everybody know you can produce from A to Z in that room.
Right. And here's the other nice thing about the new world, right? The new world that we're living in is that I can put it up for others. I don't even know to see. I can put it up for others to buy. Okay. Well, whether I sell it or anybody listens to my shit is a totally different problem. Okay. So basically, I don't try to sell my music, and almost no one listens to my music. Okay. So, but that's a different problem. Okay. So the beauty of the new world is you have the ability to do all of this without having to rely on record companies or permission or anything. Okay. You can just do it yourself. So that's what the beauty of the new world. The beauty of the old world was that we could pay to buy the thing, which supported the artist. That artist could then spend the next year of their life making another album for us, and then we would buy that album. So we supported the artist indirectly through the record industry. Okay, so if we could use this new world to cut the record companies out of the whole picture, that would be great. I'm all for that, because I think record companies are basically evil.
I can't imagine how they're still in business.
Well, there's a great book called Hitman that talks about.
I remember that book.
Yep. It's a great book. If you want to know how it's basically like the mafia. They were essentially the mafia, the record industry. Mm-hmm. Just go read Hitman. It's perfectly worded, by the way.
Much evil. Women,
oh my God. Yeah.
So much.
So anyway, so let's stay on track. How do we fix it? Okay. We have to. So first of all, we need to purchase our music, which means streaming, the way we understand it today, has to go away. Okay. So here's my just thoughts. Okay. I'm just going to throw it out half baked, but it's just a starting point of thinking. Imagine a world where you have a streaming service where you can put your stuff up that you own. So we could go back to our back catalog, somehow take out my CD and prove to that streaming service, hey, here's the CD, I own it. Do whatever you got to do in your fancy software to check that I'm really have a CD, and I put it in my little CD drive, which I still have.
You paid for the rights for that music.
I paid for those rights. Therefore, I'm allowed to stream it. I'm also allowed to upload it to the streaming service if they don't already have it.
Right.
Okay. And then I pay that streaming service for one thing and one thing only: the convenience of delivery, distribution. Okay.
Right.
That's what I'm paying them for. I'm not paying $17 a month. I'm only paying $7 a month, because I'm not paying them to pay the artists. Okay. All I want from them is delivery. So what do we
Right.
want? We want our music. We want to be able to listen to it. We want to listen to it. Everybody wants all the music, right? When you ask them. But in reality, no one listens to all the music. You listen to very little music. So you
Right.
want the music you want, right? So that's the first thing. So we could have the best of both worlds that way. So I prove that I bought the things that I bought. And the second thing is when I buy music, we use the blockchain, right? We use NFTs to prove
Right.
that I own that digital product. NFTs was a big scam and a big mess because they were trying to convert it into they were trying to use it for something that made no sense. But I saw it when I first saw it. I thought this would be great. What if when you buy a digital product, you get the NFT, and the NFT allows me to prove to a streaming service that I own this, and then they'll allow that song to be streamed or that album to be streamed by me,
Right.
right? Unless you have proof of ownership, you can't get it streamed. Okay.
Which we don't have ownership even after paying for it.
Right.
None of it.
Right. So, but that doesn't matter. I don't need to own it. I just need access to it when I want.
Right.
Right. So so when I buy digital product, you get an NFT that proves it, and then you can stream it from another service, a service that has no bones. They don't have any skin in the game of owning the thing. Okay. Like Apple does, right? Apple can take it out of their catalog.
Right.
I'm paying to be able to upload stuff that the streaming service doesn't have so that I can stream it. Take the Christmas album that we play every year, right? You can't get that anywhere.
Christmas for children.
Right. So I can take that Christmas is for children and I can prove that I own it somehow through some mechanism. And then I can upload it and then I can listen to it whenever I want. No one else can because they don't own the album. Okay. But I can. So and same with movies and same with, any other digital thing.
Books. Right.
Anything digital.
Yeah.
Anything. So that you want access to whenever you want. Books are easy because you can have it on, typically people have it on a device. But anyway, yes, that too. Okay, so now that would be the way in which we could buy new music and have old music and have it all available to me. Okay, that's only half the equation. The other half is radio. Now, I hate radio. I absolutely hate radio. I grew up with radio, and radio provided probably a third benefit and 2/3 non. Okay. So let's just talk about the benefit. What did we lose when we stopped listening to radio?
Discovery.
Right. So we need to replace discovery in this new world. Okay. Don't go back and go, oh, we got to make radio better. No. We're not in that world anymore. We're in this world. So in this world, how do you do it? Well, that's easy. Take Spotify. Okay. Now, like Spotify. So imagine you have another streaming service, could be the same streaming service we talked about earlier. You have another streaming service, and what they do is they have radio streams, right? Discovery streams. You call them discovery streams. Don't call them radio streams. Discovery streams. Now, these discovery streams, you don't get to pick what's playing at all. You just listen.
Isn't that satellite radio?
No, not at all. No. Okay. So this is a pay to play. Now, in the old days, pay to play was illegal because the FCC said you're broadcasting over public airwaves, the airwaves that the public owns. Okay. So you can't be, you're getting a license from the public to do public good. So you can't charge to broadcast over the airwaves. Now on the internet, that's all private. There's no FCC involved. You can pay to play with no legalities. Okay. So now you pay to play. So now I'm an artist, right? I produce an album, and now what is my marketing? I put up on this discovery streams, right? And I pay for a period of time. That music is available for you to listen to for free. All you want. Yeah, you could record it if you wanted to, just like we used to record off the radio. Most people won't. Or if they do, they'll do it when they're a kid and they have no money, which doesn't matter anyway. I was going to sell a product to that kid anyway.
Right.
So, okay. So now it's for a limited time, but if I like it, I can go buy it. And then it's on the streaming service. I have it on my streaming service now. I get my NFT. The artist gets their money. and then it instantly is available to me through that streaming service. That's a streaming service that can work for artists. Now, imagine I'm a billionaire, okay? And I just decide, you know what? I'm going to change the industry overnight. I'm just going to build this thing because I can. I got money to burn. What am I going to do with $1 billion, right? I can't possibly spend it all. I would do that. I'd be like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to make that happen. Now, artists start looking, they go, well, wait a minute. I can go make a bunch of money over there. So they go put their stuff over there, okay? And then they're like, you know what? I'm making so much more money on this new streaming service. I'm going to pull my catalog from Spotify. Why would I put it over there? Where people, it's competing with my business over here. And I'm making money hand over fist over here. I would do that. If I was an artist, I'd be like, whoop, pull it. I wouldn't leave Spotify right away. I'd try this new streaming service out, see how it works, sell my new stuff, do that, not put any more new stuff up on
Right.
Spotify.
I do the same if another competitor for YouTube came out.
For YouTube, exactly. And you try it out. So you have your foot in both camps, and then you shift over to the new way of doing things. So that is sort of just a brainstorm approach. We get our discovery. Here's the thing, what it forces you to do. Okay, so if people had to pay for email, we wouldn't have spam, right? If you had to pay a dime for every email you send, we wouldn't have spam.
Right. Oh, to send it.
Send it. We wouldn't have spam. It costs me nothing to put up on Spotify and Apple. All right. Therefore,
wait, you can go on Spotify for free?
You can go on Spotify and I put my stuff on Spotify and it costs me anything.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I use DistroKid because it's just easier and I'm lazy.
So you use a distribution service
to put it up. But I can put it up without. I think I can put it up without it. Right? They just make it easier.
I gotta look into that. That's cool.
So here's the thing. It doesn't cost anything to go to spam everywhere, right? Costs you nothing to spam your music. So now the consumer is just inundated with all this mediocre crap and now AI makes it even worse because now people are using AI to produce music and just throwing it up on the services. So
that's true. And by the way,
now if you had to pay,
bank right now,
if you had to pay to be on Spotify to put your stuff up, like I'm suggesting we have people pay to be in this discovery streams, okay? Then it keeps the riffraff out. People who aren't serious about music. People who are serious about music can get their stuff put up. And you buy a limited period of time and people can discover you. And and then when your new album comes out, the album goes away. That's not playing anymore.
Right.
And it's played at random. There's no way for you to rewind or pause. You just listen for free, by the way, for free. That service is free because the cost is covered by the artists who are promoting their music.
So literally, like all 500 of the records that I've digitized so far.
All what?
All 500 of the records I have digitized.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I could put on this service.
So here's the thing. The one technical hurdle for this that I can think of is proof. What does that look like? Can you come up with a scalable?
It looks like vinyl.
Right. No, right. Can you come up with a scalable solution? So let's put it this way. So there's a couple of solutions that they mostly don't scale. So here's one. You go, you have to take a picture of the album if you have an album, and then
every album comes with a QR code.
What?
Every album can come with a QR code.
No, I'm talking about old shit, dude. Old shit.
Oh, got it.
Okay, just let me finish my thought. Okay,
calm down. Don't
just let me finish my thought before you start interjecting stupid comments. So here's the thing.
Stop your bidding.
So here you say, "Oh, okay, I'm going to get onto a video call with you, and I'm going to ask you to hold up the album covers, and I'll just approve it." Yep, approved. I work for the company. Approved. That's a solution that will work great, right? Because I can say, "Okay, bring up your next album." You can't fake that shit. Right. So that doesn't scale. Right. So another way. So albums are difficult. I don't have a good solution for it. But another way is CDs. Right. So I can take a CD and I can have software that runs on your computer that verifies it's talking to a real CD, right? And that it goes and it checks certain places on the CD and it digitizes it, and then it creates a hash and it compares the hash with what's stored on the server and goes, yep, this works. You have it. Now, some programmer somewhere is going to fake that shit. It's going to figure out how
find
to
a way
fake
around it always.
Right. Always, always, always. Right. But for the majority of people, that'll work for 80% of the people. 20% will get in for free. Okay. So you just have to say, is it worth it to get this thing bootstrapped? That would be worth it. The albums are a lot more difficult. I don't have a good solution for the albums. That's my
I don't know how to put this. I want to share my music where people can listen. If you came over to my house and I played the record, you'd listen. It wouldn't cost anything. It's legal. So why not lay my music up on the internet and let people only listen, not take a copy?
Because then it's the same as owning it. No, it's the same thing. It's like owning it. No,
I know.
you shouldn't do
I
that.
know,
You
but I
shouldn't be able
want
to
to
do that.
share it.
I know, but that's what radio was about. You used to work in radio. I get it. You want to share it. You want to go, oh, it's a great song. We'll play it for everybody. And, I get that. I understand that. But the thing about radio, you have to understand, radio was all about promoting. Okay. So
that's what business.
Right. That's what these discovery streams are about. Okay. So,
right.
So I don't have a great solution. The technological hurdle is, how do you prove you own something you bought 40 years ago? Like, how do you, I have albums. Most of my albums I rebought in CDs. So I think CDs are a lot easier to
read and measure.
Exactly. A lot easier.
It's like, right here is that song on this part of the CD. So you go into that 0075 and you read and it matches.
It doesn't matter. I can, as a programmer, I know I can fake all of that. The trick is make it difficult enough that programmers don't want to go through all the effort to break it. Number one.
No, if it can be gamed.
Oh no, I'm saying someone's going to do it. Just make it difficult so that a bunch of people don't do it. Number one. Number two, just admit you're not going to get everybody, but you're going to make it so that it's so difficult that most people will just go, fuck it, I'm just going to buy, or it's not worth it. Like right now, it's not worth it. We know how to get movies. Right. You have a movie on a DVD. Hey, dude, you should see this movie. Oh, okay. I'm not going to ask you to digitize it and download and upload it so I can download it. This is just not worth it. You just got to make it painful enough. Right?
I don't see how
I'm sorry.
I don't see how we're ever going to get back.
Dude,
I don't see, back to music. I mean,
I gave you a solution. I gave you a solution.
Yeah, and that's never going to happen. So,
well, I'm not a billionaire, so no. So the thing is it could happen, right? It's not that it's never going to happen or it can't ever happen. It most likely won't, but it could happen. A system like that could be set up over time, over a long period of time. You would wind up with, if you just said all new music is going to be done that way, right? That would work. The problem is music you owned in the past. Now, most people today don't own old shit, right? Well, maybe it's half and half at this point. But imagine another 30, 40 years. There's nobody going to have CDs. No one, like 0.1% will have CDs and albums or whatever, right? Because like, oh, vinyl's making a comeback. No, it's not. It's never going to make a comeback, guys. Ooh, that lo-fi sound. Yeah, okay. If you want, you just get it digitized and put it through a lo-fi filter. You're done. Okay? So like, it's not. Stop thinking we're going back. We're not going back. You never can go backwards. You have to look at, how can I have things that I value in the future, in this new world that we're living in? That's the problem our generation has, right? They're always looking backwards. Well, not just our generation, always the old generation.
So what kind of music? Like I'm craving rock. I have no idea why. Some just good old rock and roll. And I've been craving for years.
Okay.
Now, are you okay today? Or are you craving something
Wait,
more
I don't understand what you're talking about. Craving.
musically.
No, I
I
know
want new
musically, dude.
I
What do you
want
mean
new
you're
rock
craving it?
bands.
Oh,
I want
new.
new.
You didn't say the word new. You said I'm
Yeah.
craving rock.
What
I'm like, well, fuck.
genre
There's a
what
million rock.
genre are you craving?
The new for new music.
Yeah, new artists, people
Look, I
used to
don't
make a
need
living
new. So I don't need new artists. I just need new music to me. Like
Right,
I'm listening to stuff from like the 2000s and the late 90s and stuff I never heard before.
right.
So I don't care what year it was written. I'm craving new music to me. So you could go back
I
and
understand, that's
listen to
interesting.
music from the 40s. You could be a 30-year-old listening to music in the 40s, and that's new to you. When I was listening to music from the 40s when I was younger, it was all new to me. I hadn't heard Benny Goodman much. And now I'm, in my 30s or in my 20s listening to Benny Goodman going, oh, this stuff is awesome. Right. So as long as it's new to you, there's plenty to be discovered. There's tons to be discovered. So the thing that we need to do is we need to get artists off of the Spotify and Apple Music and these companies who aren't paying them anything, and get them into a system where people can buy albums and songs directly from the artist. That connection is really.
So you're saying important. I could digitally shop? I can go to the website.
I just said 10 minutes ago we were just talking about NFTs.
I know, but you're saying the same. Wait. You're saying the same business that stores it can carry albums I can buy.
No.
Like I can do all my.
Okay, so hold on. I didn't say anything about that.
Well,
I just
said they should do that too.
Well,
so I can browse.
Yeah.
And add to my library. Boom.
100%. I did not.
That's what I was saying.
That's a good idea. I just didn't mention it.
Yeah.
I was saying buy directly. So you should be able to buy directly from anybody who has the product.
Right.
The NFT comes to you. You take that NFT and you give a copy of it to the streaming service, and now you have access. Okay.
And that goes in your library. Boom.
Right. So now that I could purchase from the streaming service, or I could purchase directly from an artist website. I'd rather, as an artist, sell it directly.
Right. I'd rather buy from the artist. I don't
want that streaming service taking a cut. I don't want them taking a cut. Now, if they make it easy because of these discovery streams that you can click a single button and you get it added to your thing and you get
the whole album just slides over.
Right. Then it's worth it for me as an artist to allow them to sell it because you have that emotional buy where they're loving the music and they want to buy it now, and then they forget because the phone rings or some shit. Right.
Oh, I got a question. What is the last great band you discovered?
I don't know.
Pink. What was it? Pink what?
Pink?
Pink. It was the Christmas album.
No, that's not the last great one. I don't know.
I mean, what was the latest? That's what I'm saying. Discovery
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
I think you sent it to me. It was called Pink Champagne or something.
That was fucking 20 years ago I discovered that.
All right, so we're a little old.
20 years ago. Jesus. Okay,
so you've discovered anything recent?
Yes. Someone sent me
yeah, bring it up, baby.
Someone sent me they listened to my music and they said, "Oh, this kind of reminds me of this other band." And I don't know if here's the thing. I don't know if it's a band. That's the problem.
That's cool. We're learning as we go. Yeah, take your time.
Wait, I'm taking my time. Recently added. No, God damn it. Like, where did I put this thing? Recents. Oh, I know what it's in. It's in a playlist. So my ambient playlist. Okay. Is why this is so annoying. Oh, Delirium.
Okay.
There's two albums, platform? Delirium. It's Spheres and Spheres 2. And they're kind of ambient, like kind of
new age type, right?
No, not new. Did I say new age? I just said ambient.
Oh my God.
Jesus,
don't get all bitchy, dude.
Well, you fucking not listening. It's
Blah,
annoying.
blah, 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 blah. Dude, you haven't changed since you were 14.
You haven't either. You're not listening.
You
Jesus.
said the same thing to mom. Of course, it wasn't in the same room, but you still said the same thing.
No, it's so delirium was probably the last discovered. So I listened to it. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is really good. He says, oh, I listen when I'm programming. And I started listening when I was programming. I'm like, ooh, I got to put this in my ambient playlist. So I put both those albums. Now, if we had my
delirium. Sorry. I'm just trying to help because I know somebody's watching.
Yeah, hold on.
And wants to check it out.
DELERIUM.
Okay, and it's ambient. And if you don't know what ambient is, go hang out in the elevator.
Well, just go listen. No, it's not music, dude. Go listen to it and you'll know. Ambient is a huge genre. There are lots of subgenres. Huge. It's huge. It's a huge genre. Say that 5 times.
Close, dang it.
Try that 5 times fast. And within ambient are lots of subgenres. So I don't know what subgenre they're in, but I know they fit under the larger umbrella of ambient. But but here in my new world, right? I would go listen to a small sample of the album. So back in the 80s when I was working on the music sampler, right? Mm-hmm. We had we were in 22 Tower record stores.
Right.
And we had samples of songs, 30 seconds, 3 cuts off an album. And so, or CDs. This is when CDs just came out. So we had a kiosk with a touchscreen in 1986, 87 with headphones, 2 sets of headphones, right? And then what Tower Records is, they put all of the CDs that were on the music sampler were in a display right next to the music sampler. And then people would listen to 3 cuts off of a CD and they could vote whether they liked it or not. They just touch an icon that was a smiley face, a don't care face, and a frowny face to say whether they liked the thing or not. And then they could just reach over and pick up the CD after they listened to 3 cuts, right? So we had that. So you would need something like that where people can go, oh, you should listen to this band, blah, blah, blah. It'd be great to have a place where I could just sample small sections of the album, maybe this service or even this artist would have on their website where you could go and listen. And then you go, oh yeah, that sounds awesome. I'd love to buy that. And I could buy, say, 1 song, or I could buy the 3 songs that I like, or the 5 songs I like, or I could buy their whole album. If I like one, I'll go and someone says, oh, the whole album's great. All right, I have to trust that person and buy the album. In this new imagined world, I would get an NFT and it would be instantly on my thing. I'm supporting that artist directly. So here's the thing. When you have fewer middlemen in a process, guess what happens? Price goes down. Right? Imagine I have to pay $20 for an album, let's say, okay? Back in the day. Well, a lot of that money went, because we ran Fight Cloud together, you have to make the CDs. Right. So you have to make the CD and you got to pay the manufacturer for that. Then there's shipping. And then there's, and imagine if there was like, you've got the manager, you got to pay your manager, and you got to pay your agent and your producers, and you got to pay everybody. Oh, and the record industry. By the time
everybody's hand was
right, and by the time that $20 gets into the hands of the artist, it's like $2.83.
Right.
So now they could afford to sell the album for $5. We're super happy. Holy crap, $5, that's it? They're super happy. They're getting double what they were getting before. Everybody wins. Well, okay, everybody except all the people who did those other jobs. Sorry, guys.
Right.
I'm not buying your work. I'm buying the work of the artist. I want to support that person.
Okay, so if this imaginary music storage system was developed, do you think artists would leave Spotify and start doing it this way?
Okay, so only if it was successful, only if the public bought into it.
No. only if money could be made. That's
Right.
it.
100%.
The minute one artist goes, "Oh my god, I'm making $1 million a year," people are like flocking.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That'll be the
So
same with a
being
YouTube
the evil
competitor.
billionaire in my imagination, I could game that system by
Right.
buying also. I got $1 billion, right? I can afford to buy albums off that system. Have it developed, and then I take my money and I go and buy, and then we tell people how successful these artists who are on this system are, right? And then people do flock over, and then we buy their albums, right?
Spotify would be done with
Yeah,
overnight.
of course.
They'd be like,
Right.
wow. I mean,
Anyway,
there's
it's,
always somebody.
it sounds like it would make a great movie, but I don't know if it's ever gonna get built, and I don't know I don't know the problems I don't know, right? Right now, it's perfect in my mind, but I don't know what problems I don't.
Okay, one last question. The problem we have today, not having ownership of all digital, we own none of it.
Right.
Okay. Do you see that coming to fruition? Lawsuits, something? Do you see the
Well,
public?
I'm look, there's always lawsuits. The problem I have isn't with music in that regard, but the problem I have is when they edit movies.
Right. Oh,
That's the
yeah.
big problem. They edit
Politically
movies, they
edit.
get all woke and edit shit. Like, I have banned cartoons that are racist as fuck, dude, that I have on Laserdisc. It's hard to watch, but I don't watch it because they're racist. I watch it because they're old.
The
And
historical.
Right, and I love old animation. I studied animation for years. I worked in animation for a decade. So
Right.
it was a thing, and I have tons of that stuff. And people being like, "Well, we don't want Elmer Fudd shooting Bugs Bunny with his rifle because then kids will go out and blah blah blah." We didn't do that shit. We never shot anybody with a real rifle.
Mom barely had a pack of cigarettes.
Here's what happened. What's crazy is that since we tried to protect, it's gotten worse.
I know.
Right? When we all
I
had
know.
guns as kids, as fake guns as kids, and no one was like suppressing our finger pointing and pretending we're shooting our buddy, like, "Oh no, you're going to have to go to the principal's office." When it wasn't that, nobody was shooting up schools. Now we got that, and people are shooting up schools. Maybe she'd let them use their finger
So
again.
we used to try to prevent Jack Jr. from doing that.
Yeah.
So he grabbed a toilet paper roll, and that became his new gun.
But
It's
yeah.
like, you can't stop it. Leave it alone.
Yeah.
Let it naturally evolve.
Thank you. Thank you.
So the funny thing is, wow, that was some time back then. The cartoons and everything. I have Home Alone 2 with Donald Trump in it. I don't think they have that anymore.
I have the original Star Wars on Laserdisc in the wrapper still. I never opened it. In the wrapper
Really?
before George edited anything.
I have what was the Brer Rabbit?
Oh yeah.
What was it
Song of the
called?
South.
Yeah, I have that on DVD.
I do
The
too.
entire thing.
I do too.
Yeah.
You can't
So-
even get that from Disney. They won't let you
No,
watch
it's
it.
all bootleg, dude.
What's crazy is remember Dad took us? We went over Dad's house that one weekend, and Dad never took us.
That was like the only time I enjoyed going over Dad's house. Was
So
that?
there was 3 movies I can remember Dad took us to: Dumbo, Song of the South. You remember the third one?
Peter and the Wolf? What?
Older and not a cartoon. We were
Old
older.
Yeller?
What?
Old Yeller?
No.
No.
Close. Not Old Yeller, but Young.
Frankenstein.
Right.
That was, I'll never forget the first time I saw that. And I thought it was funny, and I was a little tiny kid.
Right. So when I saw Song of the South, I love that film. I love the main character. Everything about it was just great.
I didn't see anything wrong with it. It was horrible.
Seeing animation and live action was new to me when I was a kid. I hadn't seen that before, even though the Fleischer Studios did it way back in the 30s. But here's the thing. Then years go by. right? And I'm like, hey, how come we can't, like, we're starting to buy Bambi
Yeah, all the
and Snow
Disney
White
stuff.
on VHS, and we couldn't find Song of the South anywhere. And so once the internet became a thing, I started looking, and they're like, "Oh no, because it's considered racist." I'm like, "Racist? There was nothing racist about it." Well,
I didn't
people
know.
didn't like. Here's what they didn't like. They didn't like that the guy was a slave, and that he was happy. He was happy.
I know. That was
Like,
kind of weird.
really? That's the
Mhm.
thing that you don't like? He was happy. Like, I've heard people talk about that. Well, they just show slaves as being happy. Well, what? You think they were never happy? Like, if people were never happy, you know what they do? They kill themselves, okay? So, even slaves had happy moments.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, it's a weird time, but
Everyone wants to believe that slavery was Roots, and Roots is a book full of made up lies.
and by the way, honestly, I really believe there were some bosses or masters that treated their people well. I
Look,
don't think everybody was cruel.
so my daughter said this to me. She said, I forget, her eighth grade teacher or something said, why, if you looked at your slaves like you did your cattle and your horses and stuff, why beat the slaves? Why beat them? You don't beat your horse. You're not going to
Right.
get anything out of them if you beat them.
I know. I wonder how much was fabricated.
Well, Alex Huxley, the author of Roots, when he was pressed about the accuracy, he said, "Well, I know, but we just got to give people something to believe in." Like,
Right.
that was his justification for making up stuff about the cruelty. Now, no, don't get me wrong, there is cruelty, but there's always cruelty. Go back to the Vikings. Go back to any point in history. There's human on human cruelty, no matter where. I don't care if you're white, you're black, you're brown. I don't care what. There's cruelty. Okay.
Okay.
So it isn't just that. And so for me, the fact that I can't get that movie, or that they want to edit things out that are, that are sensitive, sensitive issues now, because everybody's been taught and brought up to be little pussies, right? So
Okay, tell me what you really feel.
that's exactly how I really feel. They're fucking weak pussies is what they are. And so we've all been turned into these weak little pussies, and now we have to cut it out. And so they're cartoons they won't even play on, on streaming services. You can't even see them. So that's the shit that bothers me the most. Okay, is that you can't see certain things as an adult that you saw as a kid. Now,
Right.
as an adult, I'm protected, in quotes, from what I saw as a kid that did not impact me in any way, shape, or form when I had half a brain, right?
No, I hear
So
you.
that's the shit that pisses me off. So I like that I own things, and you can do whatever the fuck you want with your copy, but my copy's pristine. George, he did all that editing and shit to Star Wars. I don't care. I have the originals.
Okay, hold on. Let's just glance real quick before I say
And
goodbye.
all the hate in the
Yeah, all
in
the Jimmy comments. It's become funny now. That we like Jimmy. Let's see here. The stream may get ugly tonight. It's all good. What does zesty taste like?
They're having their own conversation, dude.
I don't even know what they're talking
What
about.
we should do is start this show and then just leave and let
Wait.
them have a conversation.
I agree. Slaves were actually treated like kings. They had it good. I don't know if all of them had it good at all, but I do know there was every type of treatment. There
Okay,
was good treatment. There
so
was bad treatment.
I want to say something about slaves just for a minute, okay?
Go ahead.
And so a couple things. One of the things that most people don't realize is there was such a thing as a white slave, right? So where does the word slave come from?
I don't know.
It stands for Slav, because Slavics, white people, were
Right.
like the first. I don't know if the first slaves, but there were white slaves. Okay, so there was a white slave trade. Where was slavery the most egregious?
America? I have no idea.
Middle East.
Oh,
Who was the first country? Well, the first couple of countries to abolish slavery. white countries, the English and French, they were some of the first people to start abolishing slavery. Okay.
Right.
The Arabs kept it going.
I didn't know about any of this.
Right. Exactly. So there's it isn't just in America. We are taught that everything was terrible for slaves and only America was doing it. Only white people to black people like that. There are no other slaves. Like, people are taught the wrong things. If you really want to know about slavery, go read your history books, go do a deep dive, go chat GPT it. You can learn a lot about what you don't know about slavery. Here's another thing. Let's talk about modern day slavery. Okay. So let's say I'm a slave owner. I own you. Okay. So pretend I own you. You're my slave. Okay.
Right.
You work for me. I'm responsible for your health care. Right. I'm responsible for your food, your shelter, clothing. I'm responsible for making sure you have all the things.
I'm like your kid.
Right. I'm responsible for you in that way. Now, fast forward to today. I'm your employer. I'm not responsible for any of that shit. Right? I just have to pay you. You're responsible for taking whatever little pay I give you, and figure out how to take that pay and get all the things that you had been given as a slave.
I always said I don't recommend anybody do this. Little disclaimer. But I always said if I was homeless, I'd knock off somebody, because I would go from being homeless to 3 square meals a day, nice warm bed. I mean, I'd have a place to live,
Yeah, I don't know if you'd have to kill someone to get it. Like, who'd have to kill to get a bed around here?
Exactly. But anyway, okay. So let me let you go.
Nothing in the comments. I mean, somebody said something about, I wish Charles would use more scripture in his something. I missed it.
Well, because
I'm not going to use scripture.
I know, because you're a New Yorker, and I try to talk with a little bit of faith guidelines. That's all.
No, I'm not. I'm an atheist. So why would I be quoting the Bible? The Bible's not an authority for.
Don't get started, dude.
No, it's not.
This is a video on music,
and I know scripture. In reality, I don't really quote too many books, because it's just one person's opinion in my mind. Right. So I'm giving you my opinion as I've listened to lots of things in people in my life and had a lot of experiences. I'm giving you my opinion today. Tomorrow, I might talk about how stupid I was yesterday and totally have a different opinion. But for right now, this is my opinion.
So are you coming back on the show tomorrow to talk about?
Yeah, pretty much. And say how stupid old me is. Absolutely.
Yeah. I want to talk about how stupid you are.
I could totally do that. We could do a whole episode of how stupid I was in the past.
That's okay. You want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
So I'm against reaction videos.
Yeah.
I think they're useless. I think it's a means to make money off of somebody else's account.
So stop for a minute and let's define what you mean by a reaction video.
Just sitting there watching somebody else's video that they produced, they wrote, they created, they uploaded, and you're just doing this.
All right. So you're saying someone who shows someone else's video and adds nothing of value.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yeah.
I just want to, because it's ambiguous. When you
somebody suggested I go back to the first 3 videos I did and reaction them, dude.
That's a great idea.
Talk about how crappy they are. Oh my God.
You'd be like this. Oh my God. That's not even how you peel an egg.
How to peel that, or about how to cut an onion without crying. What a bunch of crap.
You're like, this video's making me cry.
This video ain't right. The guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I may do that. That's just too funny in my head. Anyway, let me let you go.
That's a great idea.
All right. Yeah, we'll talk about it off the air and see if we can make it worth watching. But anyway, we'll come up with another topic next week. All right.
All right. Sounds good, dude.
Take care, brother.
Bye.
Bye.